And here are two of the tallest 130-pound fighters in the weight class as Corrales gets ready to go against Gainer. They're already in the ring, and here's a closer look at a holder of one of the 130-pound championship belts and a rising force in the sport, Diego Corrales.
Corrales went to high school in Sacramento, where he graduated in the culinary arts. Favorite dish, chicken parmigiana, but he is not chicken. He insists that he does want to fight Mayweather later this year. But when he has to move up to the lightweight division, he will not fight Johnston, the very well-regarded lightweight champion, because they are old friends.
Derrick Gainer expected to get his first title shot last year against Roberto Garcia. Garcia came all the way to Biloxi, Mississippi before backing out of the fight rather than to face Gainer with his title on the line and 3 Southern judges and a Southern referee in control of the bout. So he had to wait even longer for finally this title shot, Larry.
Let's take a closer look then at Smoke Gainer. Since losing to Kevin Kelly and then John Molina almost 4 years ago, he's had 16 straight victories. But this, in his 10th year as a professional, is his first championship fight. And he has it basically because of his friendship with Roy Jones, who has supported him financially and otherwise to get him to this position.
So Roy is in the house, as he always is when Derrick Gainer fights, and hoping to score a victory as a manager tonight. And while you're watching the fight, we invite you to log on to hbo.com/boxing, where you'll be able to score each round and spend some time chatting with lightweight champions Paul Spadafora. Hey, see those Morales-Barrera highlights if you didn't catch the fight. That was a time capsule battle that took place here last month in Las Vegas. Tail of the tape now between Diego Corrales and Derrick Gainer. Corrales is an anomaly at 6 feet in the 130-pound weight class. Gainer's a tall junior lightweight at 5 feet 9. They both weighed in at 130. They arrive in the ring tonight at 141 pounds. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Diego Chico Corrales Derrick Smoke Gainer fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Thank you, Harold. Let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present an evening of World Championship Boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem. This first bout is sanctioned by the International Boxing Association and the International Boxing Federation. IBA President and Supervisor ringside, Dean Chance. IBF Supervisor, Darryl Peoples. The 3 judges scoring this contest on a 10-point must system from ringside will be Mike Gliena, Bill Graham, and Jerry Roth. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Jay Nady. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the unified IBA and IBF Junior Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing platinum trimmed with black and weighing in at 130 pounds. His professional record, an excellent 33 victories, including 21 knockouts, with 4 defeats. From Pensacola, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is the #1 ranked challenger in the world, Derrick Smoke Gainer. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing camouflage and weighing in also at 130 pounds. He has a perfect professional record consisting of 30 bouts, 30 victories with 24 knockouts. From Sacramento, California, presenting the reigning and defending undefeated IBF, IBA Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Diego Chico Corrales.
Give
gave you instructions in the dressing room. Are there any questions? I want a good, clean fight. Please obey my commands. When I say break, step back. Defend yourself at all times. Touch gloves now. Let's go to work.
We've seen Corrales look wonderful against fighters who stand in front of him or come at him. Now he will be tested by a fighter who has great movement when he wants to. This will be yet another test.
One of Corrales' primary sparring partners to prepare him for the fight, Kevin Kelly, man who fought Derrick Gainer twice, winning the first by knockout, losing the second by decision. Of course, Corrales wanted to train with Kelly because Kelly, like Gainer, is a southpaw. But Gainer by far the rangier of the two southpaws, and he starts out trying to approach Corrales with a left-hand lead. Corrales just trying to move in and get a look early in round one.
Don't grab him.
It was a hard left counter inside by Corrales. He has quick reflexes and good eyes.
Don't grab him. Don't hold him.
Emmanuel, Derrick Gainer is a fighter who in the past has averaged about 45 punches around by CompuBox numbers. And the belief on the part of the people in his corner is that he'll have to be more aggressive tonight against Corrales.
He definitely is going to have to be more aggressive because Corrales is putting the pressure on him right away. And it's really strange to see two guys this tall, nearly 6 feet tall, fighting at 130 pounds. So who's going to be the aggressor is the problem. But I believe that it has the makers of being a very, very good fight.
Gainer shows you his desire to be aggressive and to begin the exchanges against Corrales, as coming out of the break, Gainer whacked Corrales 3 straight times before Corrales seemed to be ready to fight again.
Corrales is putting a lot of pressure on him, and he's, for the most part, is catching most of the punches. It may look effective, but he's catching most of them. And going down the stretch, it's going to be how strong is Gainer going to be mentally as this pressure is continually applied.
Corrales says that he injured his right hand in the third round of his last fight against John Brown. Has not been a particularly long layoff since that time. He went through extensive therapy to try to get the knuckles on the right hand feeling good again, and hasn't shown any reluctance to throw it in the first round here.
Well, he's going to have to throw it because I think Gainer is really emotionally fired up for this fight because more than anything else, he wants to prove something and to satisfy Roy Jones. I don't think Roy Jones has ever put so much interest in any other boxer other than himself.
On this. Don't grab his head anymore.
Diego Corrales has fought 8 southpaws in his career and knocked 7 of them out. Some right-handed fighters, of course, have trouble getting going against the southpaw, and there's Gainer landing a left-hand lead and another left-hand lead as Corrales tries to move in closer.
He's landed about a half a dozen of those in this fight, and he's giving Corrales different looks that are confusing him a little at the moment.
Well, he's going to have to do it a long time. Corrales is putting a lot of pressure on him, and what has probably made Corrales effective with southpaws in the past is he throws right-hand leads very effectively. That's one of his best punches, and that is going to be very effective, particularly fighting with a southpaw.
And he fights out of an open stance, so he's ready to punch with either hand.
Yes, right. He's always in great position, much like a Felix Trinidad type style. Always in perfect position.
Good. One thing you're not doing, you fucking feint, you gotta feint a little bit and go to the body a little bit more, okay? Feint and go to the body, okay? It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. When you spin out, when you throw your hook, sit down, you gotta turn to you, shoot your left hand on it, okay? That's a good round. That's a good round. Use a lot of feints, a lot of feints. If you move to your left and you come back to your right, drop that good straight left hand off. Then spin out with your hook, okay? You good to go? Give him a run. Okay. Keep it like that on the head, baby. You're good to go, okay?
Are those left hands getting through?
Seconds out.
It may look, he may look so from 2 or 3 sides of the ring, but from that camera angle, blocked by Corrales, who has been told to start going to the body more. Emmanuel, the correct advice?
I think it's good advice, but what he's doing right now is risky because if it goes in this pattern all the way through, he could lose a decision. But from what I can see, I know that Gainer's going to have problems holding him off with the way it's going, because he's not landing that effective on Corrales. It looks good to the crowd because Gainer's a very flashy puncher, much on the Roy Jones type, but he's not being that effective at this point in time. And Corrales is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on him, and I'm quite sure it's going to be more intensified as the fight goes on.
But Corrales in the first round put pressure on without throwing many punches. Now he catches Gainer and gets ready to open up a little bit. In the first round, by CompuBox numbers, Gainer threw 52 punches to only 16 for Corrales. So Corrales was saving his energy in round one and getting a look at what Gainer would do. Now he begins to cut off the ring with a little bit more of a purpose.
And also, if you notice there, was the first right-hand lead that he shot off the back, which is one of his favorite punches. And I think as the fight progresses and he gets closer and closer, it's going to be a more effective punch in this fight.
Okay, don't hold. Don't hold. Box.
Don't hold. You suspect Corrales will be willing to take some risks against Gainer. He stated to us yesterday that Kevin Kelly told him Gainer, quote, couldn't punch a lick.
Well, I don't think Gainer's a devastating puncher, but he punches good enough to get his attention.
And I think he's a much better puncher than he was 4 or 5 years ago. He's a much better puncher than he was when he fought Kevin Kelly. He commits more to his punches now.
That's true. And it's funny. I thought the greatest fight I ever saw him fight was the fight that he lost with Kevin Kelly, when he lost basically by 1 punch. But he fought a great fight up until that point.
If you don't hear much noise from the crowd, it's because there isn't much crowd and there isn't much going on in the ring to inspire the crowd we have.
What's the significance of the relatively small crowd here, Larry?
Well, I suppose somebody might say that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not yet gotten to the point where people have to feel they have to see him yet.
Gainer lands 2 left hands there. The first one flush on the jaw.
That was a great left hand. In fact, the normal fight he would have knocked out. He stunned him with that punch, but I'm surprised that Corrales is coming back.
And now Corrales comes back and begins delivering combinations as he corners Gainer against the ropes. Already Corrales makes clear that he isn't going to want to give Gainer much room to box. So Gainer's going to have to gain that room with his feet. And if Corrales can cut off the ring, he's going to force Gainer to fight his fight.
Perfect.
Here we see our partner, Roy Jones, sitting quietly behind the corner.
And aware of the monitor to his left, able to see that he's on camera. RJ, who involves himself in so many different businesses.
Take a little rinse. All right, deep breath.
Dig in the inside, my baby. When you're in there, dig in there, okay? Side to side. You looking good. We all right. We all right.
There's a good straight left.
Perfect left.
Momentarily stunned Corrales, gathers himself, and goes on to probably win that round.
But despite that, round 2 changed the momentum of the fight as Corrales threw 48 punches after having only thrown 16 in the first round, and by doing so he limited Gainer to only 26 output punches, half as many as Gainer threw in round 1. So Corrales shows that when he wants to be aggressive, he'll make it difficult for Gainer to get off.
You know, I'd also like to point out, even though Corrales is the taller of the two, if you notice, he keeps his hands very close, unlike most tall guys, very close, which means he's going to be more effective in closer range, even though he's taller, because he fights with his hands in a position where he can punch very effective by just twisting his body with punches. And he's going to be more effective going down the stretch than the shorter fighter, fighting at this distance right here.
Right now they're fighting in a phone booth. And you can see that Corrales has a comfort level with this. Can Gainer be as comfortable?
That's a big question.
Work.
Gainer missing twice upstairs. Corrales punching to the body.
Corrales is more effective up. There it is. That was just going to say Corrales is still more effective, you can see, in that position, and much more comfortable.
A beautiful
short punches.
Perfect short left hook.
Yeah, and it was a punch that was effective because he never sought the punch.
Well,
Corrales is much more effective at this distance. Even though he's tall, the shorter punches are going to be something that's going to be very difficult for Gainer to see.
Textbook stuff as Corrales squares up with his opponent along the ropes. He squared his shoulders up, fired punches with both hands, didn't give Gainer a chance to move.
There's no 3 knockdown rule in this fight. Stopped it. Why has he stopped it? It looked to me as though Gainer was up on his feet and coherent.
I definitely feel that he should have given him an opportunity. I think it was a quick stoppage.
I don't get it.
I definitely feel that he should give him an opportunity. But that is the decision of the referee. Maybe he saw something that
stops the fight. Yeah, maybe he saw something in Gainer's eyes. There is a safety-first mentality in Las Vegas, which is applauded by most in the sport. And Nady decides that, for whatever reason, Gainer shouldn't continue against a Diego Corrales who was making his imprint felt.
Well, as you said, the pressure ultimately got Gainer into this shoulder-to-shoulder, toe-to-toe exchange, Emmanuel, and that's not his fight.
No, Gainer still is from the school where he has a stylish type of fighting, and he has to have room. And Diego Corrales is much more comfortable at a shorter range, even though he's taller.
And how about the mustard Corrales got on the left hook in that short space, huh?
It was great. And the punches that hurt you are the punches that you don't see. And that was the perfect example. It was a short left hook over Gainer's shoulder that he never even saw. And it didn't have to be that hard. I felt that if the referee had permitted the fight to continue, the outcome would have been the same.
Somewhere along the line.
Somewhere. I don't think he would have made it much more than another round.
So you see the two-fisted talent of Diego Corrales, who took the first round to get a look at Derrick Gainer and try to figure what Gainer was going to do. Took the second round to basically force Gainer into fighting his fight. And then in the third round, destroyed him.
It was a systematic destruction job.
Beautiful piece of work by Diego Corrales. He makes his statement. And now we'll sit back to see what Floyd Mayweather can do. First knockdown, Emmanuel, and here's the left hook coming up.
It's the punch you don't see there. He never saw the punch, particularly when you're a southpaw. The punch that you're most effective to get with is a left hook, because all southpaws are watching for a straight right hand all the time. But the main thing is he was just too close on him. He couldn't fight effectively that close. And if you notice, Corrales is very effective at this short distance, even with his long arms.
An aggressive Corrales knew he was in a finishing situation, squared his feet and his shoulders so that he could fire at Gainer with both hands. Now let's listen to the conversation between Gainer and Jay Nady.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You okay? No, fight's over. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I tend to agree with you, Emmanuel, that the result was going to be the same, but I don't get the stoppage.
Yeah, I definitely think, and I heard him say that he was okay, and his eyes seemingly had cleared.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars of the knockout.
Gentlemen, following the second knockdown, referee Jay Nady calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 1 minute, 50 seconds of round number 3. The winner and still the undefeated IBF-IBA Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Diego Chico Corrales.
Final punch stat numbers, and you'll see that in part of 3 rounds, not 3 complete rounds, they both threw about the same number of punches and landed at a similar rate, though of course Corrales's were the more damaging blows, although Gainer did land some quality power shots in the first and second rounds. You can see Gainer landing 27 out of 67 power shots. That's not an unhappy statistic. But Corrales 32 out of 95. Virtually all of Corrales's landed punches were power shots. And once he got the left hook going at close range, that was the deciding factor in the fight. Larry Merchant standing by with the champion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jim. I'm sorry we got our signals crossed in here. Congratulations, Chico. Were you surprised after he seemed to do so well in the first round and a little bit of the second round that suddenly he stopped and went shoulder to shoulder and toe to toe with you?
No, I knew in my time he was going to slow down. I didn't expect him to slow down this fast, but I knew he was going to have to stand there and fight. As long as I kept the pressure on, kept throwing punches whenever I got chances, and whenever he tied me up, I'm the bigger, stronger, more physical person in there, so it wears you down a little faster. But I didn't think it'd wear him out this fast, but I knew he was going to sit down eventually.
He hit you with a pretty good left hand in the second round. It seemed to stun you momentarily. How big of a punch was it?
It wasn't anything. He just hit me, knocked me off balance, and I came right back. And I never felt anything from it.
What is the secret of how well you fight as a very tall man on the inside?
The secret is my dad. He's always told me that a complete fighter knows how to fight inside as well as outside, regardless if you're the taller one or not. And he worked with me a lot with that and working on inside, because eventually there's going to come a time where I can't box everybody. I may have to come out and fight, and I have to know how to do it well.
You fought two fighters before this who were right in front of you all the time, who were, and you can have a chance to stand there and figure them out. What was the different part of having to fight a southpaw who had some movement tonight?
I had to go to him. I got to show a different part of Diego again. You know, this is a whole new thing. I can show I can come forward. I can keep the pressure on. I can land the good shots inside, and I know how to stay inside there and not, you know, give up or get frustrated.
There's been talk of a big fight between you and Mayweather later this year. Do you feel the timing is right for such a fight?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're both right now. We're very strong. We're proving that we're very strong, and I think it's a good thing for it to happen.
All right, let me ask Bob Arum, who promotes both of you. Bob, is it realistic that that fight will come off this year?
Well, I would hope so, but Larry, Floyd got business to take care of tonight, and we'll have to see how he does tonight. But yeah, down the road, if Floyd is successful, that's the fight I want to make. That's the fight which will determine who's the best 130-pounder in the world.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Larry. Emmanuel Stewart, he's terrific now at 130, and obviously there's a lot of business to be done at 130, 135, 140, but he's 22 years old, he's 6 feet tall. I got a feeling this kid is going to be a devastating welterweight someday.
He could possibly be one of those guys, could stay at a junior welterweight possibly, you know, but the one thing about it, he's extremely physical too to be that tall. And it's going to be hard for anybody to beat him. I think Mayweather has a very solid, legitimate 130-pound challenge on his hand.
Well, you've been saying all along that you're training Prince Nassim at 126 pounds with an eye toward a possible showdown down the road with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Would you fight this guy, 6 feet tall?
He could possibly be even a more difficult fighter than Mayweather. But the one thing that Prince Nassim Hamed has, unbelievable one-punch punching power, and that can change anything. And I've been a long time since I saw a fighter that can knock people out with one punch, and that includes heavyweights today. But he's special, so you can never discount Prince Nassim Hamed with anyone he fights, in particular the way that he's improving now. In fact, when Lennox Lewis was talking to me about Hamed possibly and Floyd Mayweather, he said that would be a great fight. He said Mayweather's got such fast hands and combinations that Prince may not be able to handle it. He said, but then Prince could knock him out with one single punch too. So it would be a very interesting fight.
Meanwhile, you heard the conversation between Derrick Gainer and Jay Nady. It certainly seemed to us as though Gainer was okay and could have continued fighting. Jay Nady, the referee, we're told, has declined to speak with us. Larry Merchant's back in the ring, I assume, with Gainer.
All right, Jim. Yes, I am with Smoke. You waited a long time for this, Smoke, and you finally got a chance. You seem to be doing so well in the first round. Why did you feel you had to stand with him in the second round?
First of all, I thank my Lord Savior Jesus Christ for letting me be okay. I sat there because I didn't want him to keep getting the confidence to keep coming. So I was showing him that I can fight him inside and boxing. And that's what I was doing. I was winning the fight to stop those prematures.
But the left hook that knocked you down was something you never saw, was it?
What do you mean? I saw a lot of things. I've been boxing professional for 10 years. I've been boxing since I was 11 years
So
old.
then he's a real puncher.
He's a good puncher. He's a good puncher. He caught me with a good shot. I mean, I went down. The shot when I got stopped, I was just went down so I wouldn't continue to get hit with punches.
All right, let's take a look at the replays of what happened here, and you describe how you saw it and felt it.
Okay, he was throwing punches at me. I was trying to slip. He caught me with a decent body shot. I went down here coming up, so I wouldn't continue to get punched. He caught me with a good hook then. I went down on one knee.
Now that looks like the second knockdown.
That was the second knockdown.
All right.
And I was fine.
All right. Now, were you coherent? Did you feel you knew where you were and what was going on?
Very much so. He asked me, "Are you okay?" I handed him my gloves, and I said, "I'm fine." If you play it back, you can hear me tell him, "I'm fine." Then he stopped the fight. The first knockdown was more harder punch than the second knockdown.
All right. We have the sound of that, so let's see if we can get that as the referee, Jay Nady, spoke to you.
Okay. He still had good head movement. Caught me a good shot there.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You okay?
I'm fine. No, fight forward. I'm fine. So I said, what?
Right.
And I said, I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right. We saw what we saw. I asked Jay Nady what he saw. He says that he felt that Smoke was still not completely stable on his feet and was rocking a little bit. So it was a judgment call. A lot of people thought that he could have given you more chance, but you were in serious trouble in that round.
No, I wasn't. Of course, he dropped me, yes, with a good shot, but I gave him my gloves and I said I was fine. And I wanted to continue to fight.
All right, thank you. So just, Roy, you've spent a lot of time and energy with your friend Smoke Gainer. What are your thoughts about what happened and how this fight has ended?
Well, I thought it was a pretty premature stoppage. I thought he gave the ref his gloves and said he was fine. Therefore, he should have been allowed to continue. This is a championship fight. This is not a dance. It's not a walk in the park. This is a fight. You can go down. I went down. Muhammad Ali went down. The best fighters go down. If you get up and you regain conscience, especially if you're ahead in the fight and you are coherent enough to tell the ref that you're okay, I feel as though the ref should give you the chance to fight. Now, if he would have gotten knocked down again, I could have understood the ref stopping it. But at least give him a chance to finish so that there's no doubt in nobody's mind, not only his or mine, but no doubt in nobody's mind, watching or here, and everything will be cool.
All right, thank you very much, Smoke. Roy, Jim?
All right, so Diego Corrales states his case with an impressive third-round technical knockout over Derrick Gainer. Is he good enough to face Floyd Mayweather sometime later on this year? We'll get a look at Mayweather coming up as Floyd Mayweather Jr. gets ready to enter the ring for his title defense against veteran challenger Gregorio Vargas, who once held the world title at 126 pounds and now tries to take one from Mayweather at 130. We'll have that when we come back. Let's look ahead to other upcoming sports programs on HBO. Mark your calendars because the next 2 months bring a boxing festival on HBO. April 1, heavyweight Vitaly Klitschko makes his HBO debut against Donovan Razor Ruddock. April 15, a huge one. Fernando Vargas takes on Ike Quartey at 154 pounds. Ivan Robinson fights Antonio Diaz. May 6th, the premiere of HBO's new boxing series, KO Nation. Lightweight champ Paul Spadafora headlines the show. And May 20, Boxing After Dark returns with Kurt Johnson against Oleg Moskayev. Also, Corey Sanders takes on Hasim Rahman. HBO, the heart and soul of boxing.